Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, I
Thank
do.
you.
Oh.
All right, we might make a start. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 edition of the annual workshop of the British Institute of International and Comparative Law and the Society of Legal Scholars. My name is Georgia Greville, and I'm a researcher in labour exploitation and human rights at BIICL and one of the conveners of this year's workshop, along with my colleague, Dr. Jean-Pierre Gauci of BIICL and Dr. Saeed Bagheri and Dr. Solon Solomon of SLS. Before we make a start today, I'd just like to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land from which I'm speaking to you all today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nations. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and recognise that sovereignty was never ceded. At the outset today, I'd just like to thank everyone who submitted an abstract in response to the call for papers for this year's event, and to congratulate and thank each of the participants who were successfully selected for inclusion. We had a really high number of fantastic submissions this year. I think it was close to 100, and it was very difficult to narrow it down to just 25 presentations, but we're really excited by the program of today's event. And as you probably all know, this year's workshop will focus on the role of non-state actors in international law. Although today international law remains very much state-based in that its core subjects are states themselves, we also see organisations, individuals, corporations, and other non-state entities playing an increasingly important role in the evolution, implementation, and even enforcement of international law. So to give a few examples, we see NGOs bringing actions before domestic courts that challenge instances of the non-application of international law. International judicial and quasi-judicial bodies regularly receive communications and cases initiated by individuals or groups of individuals. The rise of social media and digital media platforms is influencing public perceptions and understandings of international law. There's a growing body of work on regulating the human rights responsibilities of multinational corporations. We see that non-state armed groups, including terrorist organisations, can often exercise considerable public power, including in the context of conflicts. And NGOs regularly advocate for and contribute to the creation of new international standards and subscribe themselves to international accountability frameworks. So in this year's workshop, we are seeking to critically engage with these developments. The presentations that you'll see over the course of today will consider the role and position of various types of non-state actors in international law, explore innovative avenues of engagement by non-state actors with international law, and discuss evolving practices to ensure compliance with international standards by non-state actors in both war and in peacetime. We've organised the presentations into 7 thematic panels, and these panels will be spread over 3 parallel sessions over the course of the day. And they'll cover both areas of international law in which non-state actors are engaged and specific types of non-state actor. The event program is available on BIICL's website, and I'll post a link to this in the meeting chat now, just in case any of you wish to consult it over the course of the day. So as you'll all be able to see from the program, the first parallel session, which starts at 12:15 p.m, includes a panel on non-state actors and international humanitarian and human rights law, and a panel on non-state actors and climate change. After a short break, we'll commence the second parallel session at 2 p.m, which will include a panel on the role of NGOs in international law and a panel on business actors and international law. We'll then have another short break at the conclusion of this second session before commencing the third and final parallel session at 3:45 p.m. In this final session, we'll have 3 panels running simultaneously. The first of these panels will explore the role of the media in international law, while the second will consider non-state actors and new frontiers, and the third will explore other categories of non-state actors. We'll then reconvene at 5 p.m. for some closing remarks before finishing up at around 5:15. At the beginning of each parallel session, we'll reconvene in the main meeting room, and you'll be shown a prompt with a list of breakout rooms labeled by panel name and asked to select one to join. If you choose the wrong breakout room or wish to swap rooms at any point during the session, you can do so using that same button that you'll be prompted shortly. And just as a final comment before we commence our first parallel session, I think it might be easy to become disillusioned about the role and impact of international law when we have a look at current global events. So as we watch the international community failing to meaningfully intervene in Gaza to prevent atrocities and further suffering, despite evidence of violations of international humanitarian and human rights law, we may start to question the efficacy, legitimacy, and authority of the international legal framework and its institutions. But events like those that are currently unfolding in Gaza and in Ukraine and in Sudan and in so many other places around the world make the conversations that we'll have here today about the interpretation, application, and limitations of international law even more pertinent and urgent. So as I mentioned before, the first of today's parallel sessions, which will commence in a little over 5 minutes, will feature 2 panels. I will be chairing the first of these panels, which focuses on the interaction of non-state actors with international human rights and humanitarian law. The second panel, which looks at the role of non-state actors in combating climate change, will be chaired by my colleague Aditi Shetty, a researcher in climate change law at BIICL. So I'll ask you all now to make a selection as to which of these panels you wish to attend by using the pop-up prompt that should hopefully appear on the bottom of your screen.
Please feel free to make a decision on which room you'd like to attend.
Excuse me, shall we use the link, yeah, right?
Yes, please.
The chat. All right, choose.
There is the breakout room options, and you have 2 separate rooms to be able to choose from. If there's anyone who's having an issue with which room they'd like to attend, please let me know and I can place you in there now for you.
Yes, so where am I supposed to?
The breakout room options, there are 2
Yeah.
listed, and you should have either panel 1 or panel 2 to choose from. Tanya, which room would you like to go in? I can place you.
I'm at the first session now with Georgia.
Okay, no problem. I will place you there.
Thanks.
Yeah, please, can you also pass me to the first session?
No problem.
Yeah, cheers.
For me too, I have a problem. I mean, I cannot see anything.
Yeah, me too.
Any cell, yeah.
Sorry, me too.
Any button.
Sorry, it's difficult for me to say me too. If you could just let me know your name, I can place you into your room.
Yeah, I think so, the first, yeah, media time also, if you can pass me to the first session, please.
Nicole?
Yes, the first panel, please.
No problem. Susan?
First session, please.
No problem.
Thank you.
Please, could you also put me in the first session?
No problem.
Thank you.
Hello, Nicholas. So the first panel.
No problem. Is there anyone else who's having issues with regards?
Yes. Could you put me? I would like to listen to the second panel, if that's possible.
Second panel, Roberta, no problem.
Thank you.
Could I go into the second panel too, Catherine Rees-Thomas?
Thank you, Catherine, no problem.
Christina Liu, panel 2, please.
Panel 2, no problem. Is there anyone else who's having troubles with the room you'd like to go into?
Ayman, I would like also to join panel 1.
Panel 1, no problem.
I would like to join panel 2, if that's possible, please.
No problem. Is there anyone else having problems selecting their room?
Hi, could I join panel 1, please?
No problem. Anybody else?